Hello and welcome to the Miscast table. My name is Måns.
My name is Jonas, and today we finally get to talk about Nethermaze.
Yes, we do. We have Nethermaze up for pre-booking next week, and we also have Exile Dead up for pre-booking next week. So we have two upcoming releases of Warhammer Underworlds, which is quite exciting.
Yeah. It would be nice to get some new cards into the pool, to change up deck building and to get some new objectives to attune the decks to.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the meta for Heraldry has gotten a bit stale. That said, we haven't played all the warbands with the Heraldry yet, but I feel like getting a few more cards will be really good for the game, and there's quite a lot coming. Every one of these three warbands are released with a 32 card deck, rival deck, for every warband, so that's 96 new cards. And aside from that, we have another, I think, 108 cards coming, both Universal and Grand Alliance cards, if you count both the Nethermaze and the, what are they called? Race Dead? Or
Exile Dead.
Exile Dead, they're called, yeah.
But I think the Exile Dead, they're going to go into the Harrow Deep card pool. Yeah. Because there's exactly a slot for their amount of cards to fit into that packet.
Yeah, so that's 308 cards total.
Yeah. And then we have these two new warbands that we're gonna talk about really soon.
Yeah,
are gonna go in the new mid-season set.
Yeah, definitely. But these releases are a bit weirdly spaced out, because at least last time with the Black Pirate Buccaneer, you had the pre-order and 1 week later it arrived in my mailbox. So if it's the same thing, it's we're talking 2-3 weeks away before release.
Yeah, and then you have a spoiler season leading up to it, so you're gonna getting quite hyped up to. And that was this thing that we saw with Exile Dead as well. We got some hints about.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was probably a month ago.
Yeah.
And now they're just here they are, 3 new warbands in the same time.
Yeah, and we didn't even get any proper introductions to the assassin warbands. They were just pulled together with the Exile Dead and just here they are.
Yeah, that's a bit interesting way of releasing stuff, and I'm not sure if that's gonna hurt their sales. Are people gonna drop the money for all 3 warbands, both a new base set and a new warband, or are people gonna it's more easily to purchase things when you space
being on a budget, and then you can buy the things that you want over time. But my primary concern is that with all 3 warbands releasing at the same time, it's gonna be so painful to paint them all at a limited amount of time.
Yeah, because we want to show the new warbands, of course, and then we need to have them painted. So we're gonna have to paint 3 warbands in a week, and it's gonna be fun, but it's gonna be rough. That's one of the pains of playing them on a YouTube channel.
Luckily, there are some upsides.
Yeah,
because speaking of the warbands, I know that one of them is a favorite of yours, and whilst one isn't particularly a favorite of mine, I really like the look of the Clan Eshin warband.
Yeah, and I seem to remember that you predicted that they were gonna be released a Clan Eshin warband.
As you did with the Dark Elves.
Yeah.
Hoping for.
Yeah, I was hoping for. We had some other predictions that were a bit out there, but let's forget about those and only think about the ones we got right. But it's not over yet, so
it might be more good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the Dark Elves, or the Umbranet that they're called now, and I think the models are amazing. They're quite different from the Dark Elves that I know from 8th edition, but they're super cool, and I'm really happy with this release.
I just think that they missed out on I kind of like the look of this assassin warband that they are bringing now, Marathi's assassins, but I think they should have gone with the Fleet Master, something like that. With their dark ships or something lore-wise.
Black Arcs, that would be really cool. I'm not sure if they exist in Age of Sigmar, I'm not sure, but they're really cool in 8th edition.
They should just have implemented them, because it's a bit of a grimdark lore, but
it's nice for Heraldry as well, and the Underworld's lore is quite dark compared to the rest of Age of Sigmar, I guess so. But I think it's fun, and it's a double assassin box. You have the assassins of Clan Eshin, and you have the Umbranet assassins, so it's gonna be really exciting. And we got some assassin cards as well. New for
and that's if we pause for a second and talk about the things that we got in Harrow Deep, which we're kind of excited about. assassin keyword were one of those things that we thought we would see much more about, but there was barely any.
No.
And the cards were so low impact that they didn't impact game deck building at all.
Yeah, and there's not that many of them either.
No.
But they're enough to keep you like, why are these here? Like, is something coming? And
and another thing that we saw in the Harrow Deep season as well were these race tokens. So we were thinking like, okay, race tokens are back. Are we gonna see a death warband that brings back fighters? Yeah. And now we get the Exiled Dead, but at the very last second. And do they even have the race mechanic?
I'm not sure. We haven't got too much information about them. But as you pointed out, we didn't get any race tokens in either Dire Chasm or Beastgrave.
Oh.
So definitely thought that there were going to be more of that stuff. But maybe we'll see about Exiled Dead. And what happens.
I think they look kind of interesting. I kind of liked the first fighter that they previewed. I can't remember
the
his
big
name.
arm dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
But
should we take a look at? They released some picture from Nethermaze, and maybe we should take a look at that at the base set and see if we can discern anything from it.
Yeah. So starting with the board, we can see that there are still 7 feature tokens, kind of hinting that we'll probably keep on playing with Gloom for the remainder of Nethermaze as well. And since Nethermaze is a subset of Harrow Deep, it kind of fits the theme as well.
Yeah, I think that's quite reasonable as well, and I think it's a good decision, because implementing a rule such as Gloom and then just playing it for like 5 months and then like phasing it out, I don't think that's good. So I think a little bit more with Gloom, and then for the next season try something new.
Yeah, and I don't know if like Gloom was perfect, but I like that it added some defensive capabilities for the warbands that liked it.
Yeah, and it makes the game feel fresh as well.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the Gloom access.
And if we look at the tokens, there's nothing really special going on right now. Like we talked about the race tokens being in Harrow Deep, but on this picture they're like missing.
Yeah. We can't see any race tokens.
Yeah,
we can't see any new dice or dice rolls or anything.
Yeah, so if potentially if the Exiled Dead would care about race tokens, and then you would be a new player and you picked up the warband, then you need to pick up Harrow Deep instead of this box if you want to use the race tokens.
Yeah, if just
like you can use other tokens obviously, but if you want the race tokens, then you need to pick up an older box. So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand the design process.
Yeah, and it could be one of those things that is just like a marketing photo, but usually they include as much as they can to like inflate the value of the box. So yeah. I have a hard time seeing that they would leave out anything.
So that seems like an oversight. Like why, if the Exiled Dead don't have race tokens, why print them in Harrow Deep? And if they do, why not have them included in the Nethermaze?
Yeah. And something interesting as well is if you look at the Inspire mechanics for the warbands, we have Clan Eshin, the Skaven, and they inspire when they kill the enemy team's leader.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about that, because that's a kind of difficult task.
Yeah, I think so too. It can be really problematic. It's not just you kill the leader and then we inspire. It's not that simple.
No. I mean, it comes down to which warman are you playing against. Because if you're playing against like Kainan's Reaper, it's not all that easy to kill Kainan.
No, or Mollog or
no. And if you're playing as another like warband like Headcracker's Madmal, you're simply, if you are the opponent, you're not gonna expose your leader to the Skavens.
No, if you're someone somewhat experienced and you're facing off against this Skaven warband, you probably just place your leader in the back. But one of the things I have been thinking about is, the Cunning Crew, the goblins there, they have some kind of abilities where they can teleport to the other side of the map if they're standing on an hex or something like that. And maybe the Skaven can go do something similar. I'm thinking like you have this like shadow step or something like that to close the distance. So that might be a mechanic, because if they don't have that, you can just place a leader in the back and like
play defensively.
Yeah,
it's gonna be really hard to like take him out, because even if these Skavens are like get some additional bonus to attacking leader fighters, it's still gonna take multiple activations.
Yeah, and they do have 5 movement, but 5 movement is not enough to close the gap if you place the fighter on the back of the board. So you're gonna need at least 2 turns to close the gap.
Yeah, and if this like killing leader gameplay is strong, I would just place the boards on the like short sides, so that you get a longer distance to run.
Yeah, definitely, if you have the opportunity. So I think they must come with some kind of cards to make them, like helps them close the distance. Otherwise, I think it's dumb. Or not dumb, it's a really cool thematical thing, but it seems quite weak if you don't have that kind of utility.
But it might be that the Warband has strong, regular side cards, and then if you inspire, it's just added bonus.
It's also one of the things that you notice is that if you look at the picture here, only 2 out of 5 Skaven are inspired, even though everyone is on the board. So that begs the question, is that just a marketing thing, or is there a way where fighters can uninspire, or can fighters inspire in other ways in this Warband? And I don't really know.
No, but we did, now that you mentioned it, we did see that kind of thing with Blade Coven, where you are able to play action cards to inspire a certain fighter, or get to that you can reach that higher goal to inspire the whole Warband.
Yeah, I know that I think Moratti can do it, and I think Elethane Soul Raid might have a card that does something similar. Yeah. So there are Warbands that can inspire without, or in a different way.
Yeah. So it might be that they have alternative inspire mechanics.
Yeah, because
and that's something I kind of like.
Yeah, if they do, that's kind of interesting, because if it's only kill the leader and you face a Moloch mob, you know from the beginning, I'm probably not going to be able to inspire, or it's going to be really difficult to inspire. And we have the other Warband, we have the Dark Elves, the Umbranet here, and their inspire mechanic is that they inspire when they attack a fighter that is already damaged, and that's because they are cruel and enjoy their target suffering. And
that's much more reasonable, I think. That's something that will happen naturally over the game, and something that you as the aggressive player can somewhat control.
Yeah, but I think it's also quite difficult to inspire the entire Warband.
Yeah.
Because doing that 4 times, that's a big ask. But as long as you can do it with your key fighters, then it's alright.
Yeah, and that adds to the depth of the game. In which sequence do you want to activate your fighters? Because whilst you might want to have one fighter to deal the killing blow, you might want to have another one that gets the inspire because he needs the defensive, or some other reason. Yeah. They sure have a wall of text, so there might be some strategic depth to their abilities that makes you want to inspire a certain one.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell from the picture here, but you can see that beneath her attack action she has some keywords. It's either one new long keyword, or there's 2 already known keywords, but we can't discern what they are, but she definitely does have keywords attached to her attack action.
Looking at their stat boxes, they seem to be 4 movement, 1 evade when uninspired, 2 evade when inspired, 4 to 3 health, and kind of decent attacks, 2 damage per fighter on par, with multitudes of smash success.
Yeah, but having if you're inspired with your fighter and all your fighters are inspired and the most damage you can do is 2, that's a bit low. But
kind of like we watched when you played Drepper's Wraith Keepers. If these guys are really stable, so that you can land those hits and are likely to at least deal damage, then you'll wear other targets down.
Yeah, for sure. And they have tons of other rules. We can't read all of it because the pictures is a bit grainy, but they have a lot of text on them, so there's probably going to be a lot of rules on there as well.
But all in all, I kind of like what we're getting here. It's the few things that we discussed are really as nitpicking things. It's hardly going to affect the playing experience all that much. It's probably going to be a really aggressive, interesting, heads up kind of gameplay with these Warbands.
Yeah, I'm super excited. The small things that are we saying negatives, that's nitpicking. I'm super excited. And I think that the new dice as well, you have the blue dice and the pink dice, purple, I think they look really cool.
Thematically, they actually fit the board much better.
I like these guys as well, but new dice is always fun. I think it's nice to have a few different ones. Maybe just be me, but I enjoy it. But other than that, we also got 2 new mechanics for the cards. We have both domain and map upgrades. And if we short can explain what those are, a map upgrade is, it says in the post they did, a way to gamble for glory points. And what does that mean? We have a card here as an example.
Let's take a look at an example, because the example is lackluster.
Yeah, there might be better cards out there, but the card that we have gotten doesn't really check all the boxes for me.
No, far from it. And I don't know that if they picked intentionally the worst one or if this is the best one of the map items. But detailed map fragment. Action. Gain 1 spent glory point. Pick one opponent. That opponent can play one upgrade without spending any glory point. Then break this card.
And this is an upgrade.
Yeah, this is an upgrade. So you not only do you have to spend one glory point, you also have to make the action. And then if you have any cards or objectives that cares about the number of upgrades you've given a fighter, this card breaks, so you can't reuse it.
Yeah, so you spend 1 glory, give this to a fighter, and then you need to make an action where you gain 1 spent glory point and your opponent gains an upgrade. And if a fighter just had an ability that says gain 1 unspent glory point, give your opponent an upgrade, that feels weak. That doesn't feel really good.
Oh, if you could do it a multitude of times, imagine that you could do it all game over, each of your activations, all 12 of them, you gain 1 spent glory point.
That's all you do, and he gets an upgrade
each time. Then you're basically not winning all the games.
No, we're probably not winning just by doing that. But it has more text than that. It has a reaction as well.
It gets worse. Reaction after an activation. If this fighter has 4 map upgrades and is holding an objective, gain 2 glory points. Then break each map upgrade this fighter has. So not only do you have to have this upgrade placed on the fighter, you have to have drawn and played 3 other upgrades. And if they are anywhere near as weak as this one is, then why put them in the deck?
Yeah, it feels really weird, and
the
you have to put 4 cards in your deck. You have to spend 4 glory points, put this on a fighter, and then make the reaction and break them. And for that, you gain 2 glory points.
You also have to hold an objective.
Yeah, you also have to hold an objective. So
this feels like if I would take one of the hardest objective cards in the game, kill all fighters.
Yeah.
That is more likely than playing this one.
Yeah, and there's
for
other
that
stuff.
One, you at least gain 5 glory.
Yeah, and there's other problems with this as well. It's the fact that if you put 4 of these on a fighter, you can do this. But the problem is you can't save 4 of them on your hand and then play all 4 at the same time, because then you're just clogging up your hand.
Yeah.
So you need, as soon as you draw it, you need to play it if you don't have any better upgrade to play. But then if your fighter dies, then they're gone.
Yeah, and then they're wasted. And then if we look at this card, if you play it on a fighter and then you use it, then the map breaks.
Yeah.
So if you are going for that Exodia play where you want to have all 4 map pieces and put them together and find the hidden treasure, then you can't actually use any of the upsides with the maps.
Yeah, I guess the only way it could be good is the reactions interact with each other. If you have 4 cards and all of them can make the reaction. And I
don't think so.
No. But it probably won't work. That would be the only way it would be decent.
Or if this card is the worst out of the bunch, and then the 3 others are amazing.
Yeah, but why do you short trash when you could make people excited? I don't know.
It's spite.
Yeah, but it's an interesting mechanic, but the card we see here is not very good.
No.
There might be better ones out there. And then we have the other mechanic, and this one has me really excited. It's the domain mechanic. And this is basically a way, this is a type of cards that interact with the environment, with the map you play on. And I think that is much needed, because the choice of map, or the choice of side, and how you, all of those things are not as important as they should be. I think they could have a bigger impact, and this might be a way of doing that.
Yeah, let's read the card and talk a bit about what it actually does. Creaking Ceiling, domain. Each time a fighter is driven back into an edge hex or adjacent to a block hex, deal 1 damage to that fighter. This effect persists until the end of the round or until another domain gambit is played. So this actually goes through until the whole round, and then boosts your push mechanic, if you have any knockback effects, if you're good at fighting so that you drive them back.
Yeah, and this seems to affect all fighters on the board, as far as I can tell. So it's like an environment mechanic. Like, you play it and it affects every fighter on the board. And I think that's really interesting. I think you can do a lot with this, and it's a very tactical thing as well. Because if you have an important domain that you want to play, you can play it, but your opponent can play another one, and now yours is overwritten. So it's quite tactical at which point do I play these to make sure that it stays in play. So I really like this.
And the card, I don't know exactly how impactful it's gonna be, but dealing 1 damage is kind of major in this current season, I think. Like adding incremental damage above the attack damage that you already deal, that quickly adds up.
Yeah, it adds up. So I think this can be really interesting, and I think you can do a lot with this. There's the limits on design is like this design space is very large.
Yeah, like they could add like that you get benefits from being near cover hexes, or that you have other reasons that want to position your fighters onto the board in a more impactful way, other than just stand on this hex or stand next to another fighter so that you get to hit them.
Yeah, and they look just like this, like frozen ground, -1 move to all fire, or like just stuff like that. Like these are the classic ones that you see in this kind of like environment impacts. And we have one other card as well. We have Quintox Bubble, and it's a spell. And it's nice to see a spell once again.
Yeah, I kind of thought that you would like it. Quintox Bubble. It's a gambit spell. Looking for lightning. If cast, choose 1 friendly fighter within 4 hexes of the caster. Reduce damage to attack actions that target the chosen fighter to a minimum of 1. And the chosen fighter has the flying trait. This effect persists until the chosen fighter is dealt damage. So it's kind of like an upgrade if you get to cast it.
Yeah, I guess
it's like an illusion upgrade that it doesn't go away at the end of the round.
Yeah, it's like a protection spell you can put on a fighter. And I think it's quite decent. The problem, as we always say, is that the sorcerer playstyle is quite weak. But otherwise, the card is quite alright. So
yeah, and it's like if we get more sorcerer warbands, I think the game would be better off for it, because magic is kind of isn't utilized as much as it has the potential to add to this game.
Yeah.
Because like magic is definitely part of the Warhammer fantasy lore, and I don't think it gets to shine as much as it would have the potential to do in this game.
Yeah. Because if this card was a ploy card, it would be really, really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. So I think if you can play it in a warband that has great use for wizards, it will be good.
Yeah, but it's not all that easy to judge how this season is going to play out from these 3 cards alone. I don't suspect map to be a major factor in the game going forth. I think that seems kind of weak.
Yeah, I have to agree based on what we have seen. I'm really excited about domain, however.
Yeah, domain.
I think that's gonna be impactful, and I hope there's a lot of different domains so I can try them out. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. So I guess that is all the information we have about Nethermaze. But we do have some extra information about the new zombie warband as well.
Yeah,
the Exile Dead. Yeah, I want to call them Race Dead all the time. But we do know that, or at least based on the last post that was posted on the Warhammer community page, they all start inspired.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's like meaningful. Because if you start inspired, couldn't you just have like printed the regular fighter cards so that they were on that power level?
Yeah, I guess, but that's one of the tricky ones. You have Eltane Soul Raid that inspire in the second round, and then the de-inspire, so that makes the second round very important for them. And this might be a similar thing, like they might be the de-inspire in the third round, and you have to first rounds of the game are really important. Or
that now that you put it like that could be an interesting, like they need an explosive start to maximize their usefulness. And you might like need to think about which fighters do I sacrifice, because certain key fighters are not going to be inspired when I need them in the end game.
Yeah, and it also might be that kind of stuff like you can do like a special ability, like you add 1 dice to your attack roll and then de-inspire. So you can use it like a
kind
resource.
Kind of like Miora's Purifiers. And I think they were really interesting Warband, like showcasing like how these tokens should be used by certain warbands.
Yeah, it's really interesting mechanic with the tokens on Miora's Pure. It was a bit of a missed opportunity that you couldn't get more of them in some kind of way, but I definitely agree it's interesting way of doing things. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, like resource management in this kind of game is just good, and like you have glory to manage how many upgrades you can play, but having additional like lateral resources that you need to keep track of and spend wisely adds depth to the game.
Yeah. So I guess that's all from the announcement about the Nethermaze and the new warbands. So we're gonna get 108 new Universal and Grand Alliance cards. We're gonna get 3 new rival decks, a total of 96 new cards for 3 different warbands. So it's a massive release.
Yeah, it's good times ahead. Given that everything is as good as it's hopefully is.
Yeah, and I think the game is in a pretty alright spot now. And if we get some new cards to fill out where it is right now, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing. So I'm super excited. I'm a bit scared about the painting, as you said before. We have a lot of stuff to do.
That's my main issue as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited about painting the new Umbranet, or the Dark Elves.
Like their leader seems kind of interesting. Didn't we miss out on mentioning that they have some kind of ability, like possibly skittering or flickering around between cover hexes?
Yeah, they have an interesting wording. I'm gonna read that wording for you so you can see what I mean here. So I read this post this morning, and it says here about the Umbranet. It says their leader, the Shroud Queen Slithael, is so attuned to the darkness that she can even flitter between cover hexes or between cover unseen. And I think that's an interesting wording. Does that mean that she can jump between cover hexes with an action or with an ability?
Perhaps between edge tiles or something?
Yeah, something like that.
We did mention like Skaven Warband possibly caring about killing leaders and having alternative ways of closing the distance.
Yeah.
And perhaps this Assassin Warband has as well.
Yeah, that would be really fun if they can do that. So I'm definitely gonna paint those up. You get the Exiled Dead then I get, and then we'll see. The one who is first done with the other warband get the last one. So I'm gonna drag my feet to make sure that Jonas paints too.
Well, we'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see. But I hope that you all are just excited as we are, and if you want to see the new warbands and the new set played, you should of course subscribe, because we'll be playing with them quite a lot here
in the near future, we all hope.
Yeah. So
but with that, we'll see you all
next time. Bye.